Welcome, everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about leadership, understanding the difference between what makes a leader, the aspect of career, developing into that career. Should it be a goal that you're going after, or maybe something that you gave yourself that might not be what you want? Understanding where you are, where you want to be is so essential. Sometimes we give ourselves a goal, we give ourselves a destination, and we say, this will be really good. This is going to bring me happiness. But maybe along the way, you find that you're burned out. Maybe along the way, you find out that you are not pushing yourself in the areas that need to be pushed. It could be your own doing, or it can be just a product of your environment. And we do have to do our best to give ourselves the best environment possible. Whether you learn how to create that yourself, or you get someone to put in your corner like a coach that's going to be there for you, right? In your corner, being your accountability partner, your biggest cheerleader, right? There to support you. And it's so important that you have someone to look at your life, to look at the wins, to look at the losses, and then to see where we can make some improvements. And today I'm going to be bringing on Zach White, who's going to be helping us understand all those aspects. We talk about leadership, we talk about career, we talk about family, we talk about what we can be doing with our life. Because sometimes we might want to be living in comfort, but it's comfort giving us the life that we want to be living in. So let's get into the interview with Zach and myself. Welcome, Zach White, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
Michael, I am fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And fantastic is the best way to be, because sometimes people just say, I'm doing good, I'm doing well, I'm doing okay. And being fantastic is a way for us to understand that you understand that there's more to how you can be feeling. And we're going to be talking about that today. But today I have you on as a leadership and career coach. When you are a leadership and career coach, you don't just simply help people to be leaders, to help them in career. You help them do so much more. In your own words, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them.
Michael, I help engineering leaders in particular, although to your comment, this work is for everyone. But my zone of genius is around engineering and technology and helping these leaders to experience the career of their dreams in the context of the life of their dreams. How do we build a career and balance our life, but underpinning it all, be happy along the way? Get out of this one day when, then I can be happy. One day when, then I can fill in the blank with your own version of that when, then mentality. And showing them a system and a set of strategies and mindsets and tools that will help them to go get the results they want at work, love that process, and also see the same kind of growth and results at home. And that's what we do full-time at Oasis of Courage. That's my coaching company, OACO for short. And it's been an absolutely incredible ride building out these tools and systems, and now helping over 150 engineering leaders at companies all around the world to have some pretty breakthrough results. It's been awesome.
Well, let's answer the big question then. From what you just said, why don't people take more action then and live life every day to the fullest?
It's an interesting question, the way that's framed, Michael, because I can tell you the clients I serve would tell you today in their unhappy, burned out states that they're taking tons of action. In fact, they're busier than they've ever been. They can't get themselves out of this rat race or this hamster wheel or whatever phrase you like to use for the experience of that. They might even be offended by the question, why aren't you taking more action? They're like, what do you mean? I'm taking all kinds of action, but I'm not getting the results that I want. And so I actually think I'd reframe that and say, what is it that they're not doing, or which actions is it that they're not taking to actually get a different outcome? Because it's not about not doing anything. It's, are we doing the right things that really matters? And so I think my more the curiosity in me says, well, what's missing, or what is that thing that the action is in the wrong domain, or what is it that we need to change? And that's what we focus on the most. Like a lot of things, you got to stop doing all of this stuff that's keeping you so busy and not working before we can talk about making changes to get a different outcome.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told a client saying, hey, you're not busy enough. I think that would be like a slap in the face.
Oh my goodness. They would fire me in a heartbeat if I told them that.
They would say, you don't know my life, you don't know my situation. Of course we don't know your life, and we don't know your situation, because how you deal with things are going to be different than how other people are going to be dealing with things. You're going to have a unique circumstance. When I ask that question, right, it's always about the aspect of a lot of people are mistaking movement for progress. They say, well, I'm doing a lot of things, but I'm not getting the results that I would like. If you're looking for a job, for example, you're trying to get a career, you're on Indeed, you're on Monster, you're on Glassdoor, you're checking out all these things, you're doing cover letter after resume after interview, and you're finding that you're not making any progress. yeah, you're doing a lot of things, but are you doing the right things? How do you help direct people to do the right things rather than just anything?
So the first place in any conversation when it comes to doing the right things begins with your mindset. And especially for my engineering clients, Michael, they hate it when I say that at first. It's like, give me the strategy, the tactic, the tool. I want to know what to do. Tell me how to do it. But one thing that I've experienced as a coach, and I've experienced in my own life so many times, is that the right action with the wrong mindset will not get you the result that you want. You may not agree with that. It's like, okay, well, let's just look at a simple example. An action might be saying something to another person. I want you to say this. Well, let's take an easy. I don't know if anybody's married out there. Michael, are you married? Are you in a relationship?
I am married. Yeah.
All right. So we can talk spouse here. All right. You and me both. So if you go to your spouse and you say the same thing two different ways, have you ever heard from her like, hey, it's your tone, something about the way you said it. It's not what you said, it's how you said it, right? And that comes from mindset. It's like you can trigger her and make her angry, or you can have a loving, curious, helpful conversation that's constructive and leads to results using the same words, but it comes from a different energy, which started from a different mindset. One might have been, she's so stupid. How could she have done that again? That mindset's not going to get you too far. The other might be, I wonder what's stressing out my amazing wife, this woman who I love. She seems to be, not on her A game today. How can I love her? How can I help her? That's a totally different set of thoughts and different mindset. You're going to get a different outcome. You could use the same opening sentence, but those two different energies are going to get you two different results from that other person. And you can take this example and now extrapolate it into anything. So how do we shift to doing the right things? Well, the first thing we need to do is back up and ask, what is the mindset that you're coming from in your current actions? So take the interviewing, resume, job hunting example you just gave. If your mindset is that the economy is bad and there's no jobs out there and nobody's hiring and I need to apply for any job I can find because if I don't apply for everything, then I'm not going to get anything. And I'm very unlikely to find a job right now because it's such a tough economy. Just keep filling in all these negative beliefs and mindsets about jobs. Well, that mindset's going to penetrate that cover letter. It's going to penetrate how you set up your resume. It's going to come through in the tone of your voice and the energy on that screening call with the recruiter because you're already defeated. You've already lost before you even started. And it's possible that you could have been a perfect fit for one of those jobs and could have landed that job. But because you came into it with this energy and this mindset that there's no way anybody's going to hire me right now, that recruiter can't quite put their finger on it. But there's something about you that just didn't really click. Like, this candidate's missing something. I just didn't feel it from them. Guess what? Like, there's 100 other candidates who have the credentials. So that feeling matters. And you're not going to get that next step. So fixing the mindset is always the starting point for me.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about confidence then, because I think confidence is closely related to that. Because if you're going into one of those interview calls, you're a little bit timid. Maybe you have that pessimistic type of mind. And you're just like, oh, there's not enough jobs. Like nothing's going to come out of this. It's a waste of time. I'm not qualified. Whatever the negative self-talk is. Then we have that confidence level, right? So I'm sure when you went up to your wife for the first time, you didn't go, hey, would it be nice if you and I maybe talked a little bit? She would probably say, get out of here, right? Or she might give you the time of day, but in her mind, she would be like, yeah, I'm not going to continue with this guy, right? So the aspect of confidence, how important is that to tone and then mindset?
Confidence is huge. 100% agree with what you're saying. For me, the natural question that flows from that is like, well, what is confidence? How do I create it? Like, tell me how to be confident, Zach. That's what I would want to know. So let's back it up. There's a question in the subconscious of all of us when it comes to this idea of confidence. You're asking yourself, do I have what it takes? Period. Or question mark, I should say, right? Do I have what it takes? You don't realize it, but that question is running in the background all the time. As you and I are talking on this podcast, my subconscious mind is asking me, hey, Zach, do you have what it takes to deliver value with Michael on this conversation? And how I answer that question is going to dictate the energy and the way I show up. And if you perceive it as confident or you perceive it as timid, uncertain, not ready, lack of confidence, low esteem, all these things. So I encourage people to bring that question into the foreground as one of the first steps towards building confidence. Let's be intentional to ask the question, do I have what it takes? and be honest with yourself about the answer. And if all of your answers right now are negative, no, I'm not ready. No, I don't have it. No, this is beyond me. I'm going to fail. First off, I'm not judging you. And I encourage you not to judge yourself. Like, forgive yourself for having those thoughts. Like, it doesn't make you a good person, a bad person, etc. But that honesty is so important to begin with, because if we ignore that and try to paste on some practices or tools like, hey, do this, you'll be more confident. Get smarter, you'll be more confident. None of those things are going to solve the root cause problem if in the back of your mind, you're always answering the question, do I have what it takes, with negative self-talk. So let's get to clarity there. And I'm going to be honest, Michael, if that's something that you struggle with, go work with a coach on this, because that's an area that's really difficult to work on. And so someone like yourself, people who
read
can
me
help
like
you,
a book, huh?
yeah, man, it's like you want to get help there, because let's face it, it's foolishness to think that you can go a whole lifetime of one pattern of low confidence and become aware of that and just change that on your own. Like, that doesn't happen. Okay. So that's the first piece. The other side of this is then the relationship of confidence to your competence. And so the way most of us solve the problem of low confidence is to go improve our skill, which then allows us to answer that question, do I have what it takes, with a yes, right? If I have proven that I can do this, I've done it before, I've practiced 1,000 times, I have all the reps, my competence is very high. Well, that is a backdoor way to hack that subconscious and change a no to a yes, because I've proven it, I've already done it. The problem with that is if you wait until you've already landed the job to have the confidence for the interview, that doesn't work, right? Most of the moments in life where you need confidence, you don't have the luxury of proving to yourself that you can do it before you need to step in to that moment. And so this is where mindset work and understanding that growth mindset and believing in your potential and learning how to shift the energy from that negative self-talk to a positive self-talk is so important, because a catalyst to rapid growth is your ability to step into uncertainty, step into a situation you've never done before, and still be confident in yourself, in your ability to learn, your ability to grow, your ability to adapt, all of those kinds of things. And I love Carol Dweck's work around the growth mindset for this. It's some of the foundational work. But that to me is more important, because if you always rely on competence, for one, man, that's a long and tiring road. And for two, a lot of times you just don't get the reps until after you've been given the opportunity. It's that catch-22. So developing confidence first through your mindset is really, really important.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who will go off and get a degree. They'll say they're not qualified. They'll go to all the school. They have a lot of schooling, a lot of skill, but they don't have any real world experience. And that's what's lacking today in the job market, is that real world experience. Everyone has a degree, but they don't have on-the-job experience. And that's so valuable. And I tell people that if you have on-the-job experience, you are ahead of the game over anyone who has a 4-year degree, even a master's degree, going in the door for the first time, right? They have to learn about themselves. They have to learn about dealing with people, because maybe they just had to sit in class, answer a couple questions, and then they got their degree, right? If you're a teacher, it's a little bit different. You have to go up in front of the classroom at some point in your certification, and you have to teach. You have to show that you can teach. If you're a lawyer, you have to go up in front of a court and you have to have a case, and you have to do that case, and you have to present that case. So depending on your job, whether it be from teaching all the way to engineering, is something that you do a lot of work in. We have to be able to do our job, not just by the books, but then also what's really happening in the real world, because the real world is going to dictate what is being taught versus school is going to be the book smarts. I always say it's the difference between knowledge and wisdom, where a lot of people will go after all this knowledge when if they chose wisdom, they could be years ahead. Just because they have a mentor, they have a guide, they have a coach like you, right? That's wisdom, right? You have the knowledge already, but then you also apply the wisdom. And with every client you work with, it's more wisdom in your toolbox, like boom, 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 boom. And before you know it, it's like you have this abundance of knowledge and wisdom, and you can help people figure out the areas that they're struggling in sooner than later. Because a lot of times people just kind of keep churning the wheel, keep churning the wheel, keep churning the wheel. And what happens? They get burned out, right? And the quickest way to get out of burnout is to prevent burnout. Don't let it happen, right? Let's talk about burnout really quickly.
Well, okay, yeah, we will. And I got to tell a quick story, because what you just said, it's I'm going to name this client John. That's not his name, but just to respect his confidentiality. John Smith, one of my clients. So this is the textbook person that you just described. John, when I met him, every time he bumped up against that lack of confidence, he went and pursued knowledge. So he had a PhD, he had his MBA, he had every certification that his industry offers and was looking for the next one when he and I first talked about coaching. And I told John extremely bluntly, your problem and the reason you're getting passed over for these promotions and the reason that you're being led by a manager who's half your age and has none of your credentials is because it's not about what you know. You already know too much. Knowledge for you is not power because you're not using it. There's no wisdom. Knowledge that's not applied has no power. And we started working through this new way of thinking and being, changing the mindset and helping him recognize, the courage to act, the courage to do hard things in your career is what's lacking here. And it's not about another PhD. In just 6 months, had a huge promotion, took on triple the scope of the work just by stepping in to the workplace in a different way. And so I just wanted to say, Michael, what you described is so true that we'll mask the pattern of low confidence by going and compensating with something like a degree because that's the comfortable place. That's easy. It feels like progress. It feels like you're doing something to build your career, but it's passive action, right? It's not actually moving the needle towards your dreams. It's just doing something that you can fool yourself into thinking it's productive. And so how does that lead to burnout? Well, whatever your version of that pattern is, where you're not doing the courageous, hard things that need to happen, wherever your resistance is, it could be in human relationships, could be in emotional intelligence, could be in a lot of areas, and you're defaulting to working harder or just consuming more knowledge. Or, even here we are on a podcast, a lot of my clients are podcast junkies. They're just constantly listening and reading and soaking in this information, but they're never doing anything with it. And sooner or later, those patterns lead you towards feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, burned out, because they're not actually meeting the needs of your soul. You're not really knowing yourself and taking actions that are in integrity to what you want because you're masking that discomfort or that lack of confidence or lack of courage. Fear is winning and the comfort zone is winning. That part of you that just wants to stay safe is winning. And that always leads to, it starts as boredom, starts as just a little bit of frustration, and then it compounds and compounds, and there's that downward spiral so many people have experienced, I've experienced. And so if you want to get off that train, we need to identify these patterns, break those cycles, and start taking new action.
For me, it's difficult to see burnout sometimes because it's you're doing what you love, right? So these people might love reading their books. They might love watching their podcasts. They might love working or going to school. It just comes a point where, they just wake up one day. They're just what am I doing, right? Yeah. So it's kind of we're driving thinking we're going to California, but we were actually heading south and now we're in Florida. It's our destination wasn't exactly what we thought it would be. And I think sometimes people, they give themselves a goal, right? A destination. And they think that this is the path to get to that destination. Sometimes that burnout is part of that process. Okay, I'm going to drive to my location. And if you ever drove across the country, it sucks. All right. The first time you do it, you're all right, I did it. And then if you do it again, you're I don't want to really do that again. I'll fly next time. If you do it again, you're this really sucks. The more you do it, it's a very long distance from New York all the way to California. Again, you do it the first time, you'll love it. The second time, you'll be I don't really know about this. The third time, you're going to start to hate it. And then people, they get into that negative mindset there of burnout because they're doing too much, but they can do things more efficiently and effectively, right? Whether it be leadership or career, your aspect of being effective rather than just doing something that is going to lead to that burnout.
Effective presupposes that you know the priority or the outcome that you want, right? So how can you know if you're being effective? Well, Stephen Covey said it, beginning with the end in mind. There's a lot of ways we could describe it, but I would ask you first, do you know your priority? Do you have a clear vision of the future that you want to create? You mentioned destination. I love the metaphor of that. It's simple for us to pick. So do you know where you are? Do you know your current location? And do we have a clear destination? If we don't have those 2 points with extreme clarity, then I cannot tell you if you're being effective or not. Because the direction you're going now is effective if it's moving towards the destination. It's ineffective if it's not. So if we don't know where you are and where you're going, the word effective has no definition for me as a coach. So we need to start with clarity Where are you today? Where do you truly want to be? And for me, that's a whole life conversation. It's not just career. I want to be a director of engineering. Great. What do you want your life at home to look like? Do you want to be at a certain level of health? Do you want to have a certain level of happiness in your marriage? Do you want to have, we need to have the destination of your whole life described, not just one point. Because again, what is effective? Well, working 80 hours a week to get promoted might be effective if you don't care about anything else in your life but work. And I have no judgment for the Michael Jordans of career. If all you want to do is be the best at the cost of everything else in your life, go for it. If that's authentic for you, by all means. But that's pretty rare, Michael. Most people really want to experience joy in relationships, joy with their kids, joy in their hobbies and their health and their passions outside of work. So clarity first. Then we need to measure more often, right? So if you get in the car and just start driving west, well, if you've been on the roads in the U.S. ever before, there isn't just one straight shot west. Eventually there's going to be, do you want to take 65 south or 70 west? Which one is better? And you take these ramps, and if you just drive till your tank runs out of gas and then see where you're at, odds are at some point you started going a different direction than west. So let's check in more regularly. And we call this the playbook at Oasis of Courage in our company. It's just this idea of what is the rhythm of action followed by reflection and then learning and application, right? Do we have this rapid learning loop? So every day, at the end of the day, a quick check-in. How did it go? Did I do what I said I was going to do? Did it move me in the direction I wanted to move? Do I feel the way I want to feel in my core values and the quality of life I want to experience? Quick check-in. How did it go? Can I learn anything from today that I should apply tomorrow? Okay, awesome. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, let's set a quick course for the day. I still want to drive west. Yes, I still want to drive. Okay, cool. Let's make sure I leave this morning going west. Leave the hotel and get back on the highway going west. Let's get that right. And then at the end of the day, those check-ins. So there's this daily rhythm. And then weekly, right? We want to look at our week, make sure that we have a good plan. Quarterly, I like to look at the seasons. 90 days it's nice because business tends to run on the quarterly engine, but also there's something in our life. We tend to lose focus and motivation in these seasonal periods. So let's check in every quarter and then every year. One trip around the sun. Again, there's a lot of cultural conditioning around the year that we can get leverage off of, but also a lot can happen in a year. And let's reassess. Do I still want to drive west? Or did something happen this year that, now I'm more of let's go southwest. I really want to get to Arizona rather than Oregon. So that's the mindset that we use, and the sort of the systems of this is effectiveness is about extreme clarity of where you are, where you want to be, and then a system of rapid measurement and learning to make sure that you're consistently moving the direction you want to move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, systems are essential because if you don't have a system, then you don't have a process. And that process is going to be there to help you, keep you on track, and then to keep you focused. I work with some very prominent people in the world. When I work with them, it's just always so stress. And what is mixed with that stress is a lot of bad habits. Totally. They don't have the systems in place to say, well, this is what I need to be doing rather than what I'm doing. They are extremely successful. Success is the last thing they need on their plate. They maybe start beginning to work on the family aspect a little bit more because they finally reached that top and they realized happiness wasn't there. And then they start to do the family thing, but then that's extra stress because to them, it's like they are trying to keep that work that they have accomplished. Now try to catch up the family, hurry up, come on. Mm-hmm. And then now they're at that point, it's like, I don't even know how to check in. So every single morning, they're just bogged down of all the things they have to do, of all the processes that they think have been keeping them going in the right direction. But in reality, it's just burning them out. I always tell people, let's do that self-assessment, right? So we do self-assessment check-in every single morning is what I do. And it's what I teach my clients because I find it to be very important. Because if you know where you are in the beginning of the day, right? I always say it's important to know where you are so you can figure out where you want to be. If you put your finger on a map, that doesn't mean where you are, all right? You need to literally find out where you are and say, okay, cool. If you're looking in a direction, you just can't make it up and say that's west, right? You need to know on the map, which direction is west, right? So we need to have that guidance. And that's why having a coach, mentor, to guide is so important because we might be thinking, again, we're going west, but we're not. All right. So it's important to have that stopgap, right? Hey, you're going the wrong way. Oh, I didn't even know. Right. Or if you just get into that habit again, hey, you're doing it again. Oh, I didn't know. Right. We are blind to our behaviors, especially bad behaviors that have become our habits. So if you're doing something just repeatedly that's not positive, that's not leading you in the right direction, or that's constantly putting you off course, that right there needs to be worked on. How do you help people with those habits that keep trying to put them off course to what their true destination is? Because their true destination might have been, I wanted to have success. And then now it's family, right? So they're just changing where they want to be, right? How do you help them create the habits after they have maybe already achieved success or they're working toward that?
Habit creation, it is a skill. It's a learned skill. And the better you get at it, the faster you can shift trajectory of your life in any domain and maintain predictable results, which is something most of us want. How do we help people with this? The first thing that's important is just an understanding of how habits work in our psychology. For anybody listening, Atomic Habits by James Clear is a great book. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is a great book. Check these out, build some of that knowledge, and then now let's go turn it into wisdom. So first piece, what's the trigger, right? What is the cue, the thing that sets you into motion? Understanding those triggers, one of the first things that I help my clients with is say, let's get clear on what is triggering the bad habits. And to your point, part of my job is to shine a light on the bad habit itself. You don't know what you don't know. You can't see what you can't see. So go get that outside perspective, because how are you ever going to read the label on the outside of the bottle that you're stuck inside? You can't. You need that outside perspective. That's why I have a coach. I mean, coaches need coaches too. And so I shine a light on this and say, look, here's what's happening. And now let's dig in. Where is the cue or the trigger for that? Is it when you're stressed? Is it when your boss walks in your office? Is it when the alarm goes off in the morning? This is your first thing. It's like that's your morning routine. Like, where are these places? And then we want to redesign a new routine, a new patterned behavior around those same triggers if they're unavoidable. So boss walks in my office, waking up in the morning. These are things that will always be a part of your life. So we need to redesign the routines. There are other times where we can simply eliminate the triggers, right? Hey, this thing that is leading you down a bad habit behavior, if we eliminate that from your life, then we'll stop. So an example of that might be notifications on your phone. Every time the Instagram notification goes off, you're clicking in. Shut off the freaking notifications. Like, let's eliminate where we can those triggers. Now, unfortunately, Michael, that's harder to, there's not as many of those because a lot of these deep-rooted bad habits are connected to emotional triggers or environmental triggers that are very difficult to change. And so in that case, we've got to go in and say, all right, the next time you experience this trigger, whatever it may be, what are we going to do? And we design that together. And then the thing that makes the difference, and it's a world of difference, of having a coach right there beside you, is the accountability to follow through. I can't say enough about the power of accountability from someone outside yourself. And most of us, I don't know why, Michael, but we're taught, like, having accountability is because we're too weak or too lazy or too whatever to do it on our own. I'm not good enough to do it by myself, so I had to have help from someone else. That is the biggest load of crap. Accountability is a sign of strength. It's a sign of knowing that if I don't get the help I need, I won't get to my goals and dreams. And the most successful people on the planet all have people, coaches, mentors, accountability partners supporting them in their success. Nobody gets there alone. So I'm a big, big fan of installing systems of accountability in parallel with the systems of action that you want to take so that if you do go back to that old pattern, you get notified of that right away. When you're on the phone with your coach the next day, how'd it go? Michael, I fell back into that same old. Hey, it's okay. It happens. I'm with you. Let's talk about what happened. Let's talk about how you're going to approach it differently this time. Let's reset, regroup, and go again. That kind of environment around you is huge to make change.
Yeah, it's an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And it's important that you find the right coach to go together and you go far, right? We all give ourselves a lofty goal of our greatest ambitions in life. And we might be shied away because of all the work we have to do. The subconscious mind does not like exerting energy. And if you have to make some massive change in your life and you need to dig deep, you have to rewire yourself. Even if you feel like you're not enough, you're not confident, like, what we talked about in the beginning, that all stems to you knowing your true worth. When you're a leader, right, and a leader in your own regard, it doesn't have to be a leader over people. You're a person that is leading yourself to something better. But sometimes you need, again, some guidance, right? Leaders need coaches too. Your coach, I'm sure, is a wonderful coach who's listening to you, asking you questions. Where do you want to be? From there, you're like, this is where I want to be. Your coach can hold you accountable and say, yes, you're doing the right things. Or they can call you out on your BS. Because sometimes we will tell ourselves a lie. Oh, yeah, things are going great. I did a wonderful job. And then before you know it, no results. I remember when I was student teaching, and I was, you have your cooperating teachers, your mentors, your guides, right? Those people there. I remember when I did, a little bit of self-conscious in the beginning, because you're just like, did I do good? Things like that. And then you see the kids doing the dances and stuff like that and singing and learning. You're like, well, I think I'm effective. I'm doing well. And then after the day, and, the teacher is like, all right, let's talk about what went on, right? What did you do, right? And was it good, right? And then they give you a whole list of things you have to work on for the next day. You're like, man, I thought I hit it out of the park.
I thought I nailed it. Yeah, exactly.
And I got all
That's
this
really
work.
good.
So then people become almost demoralized unless you have a strong mindset. For me, it was a challenge every single time I got that list of things I had to work on. But when sometimes you present it to someone saying, hey, these are the areas that you can work on, it can maybe make them a little self-conscious, and then maybe even turn them off to taking more action, because they're like, this is a lot of work. How do you make it approachable to your clients to take those steps to fix the areas that they need some adjustment in?
Michael, I won't lie to you. Making it approachable, that's not something that I can do as their coach. The approachability of doing hard things depends on what's inside of you. And so what I seek to do as your coach is help to amplify what's already in you. It's not that I'm going to impart something to you that you don't have. I believe that you have everything within yourself to accomplish your biggest dream. And what we need to do is uncover it, get all the garbage out of the way from you stepping into it. And what I am going to do is encourage you. And I like the word encourage. It's to bring or give courage to someone else. It's me showing you courage so that you can draft off of my courage. It's me showing you that 100 other engineering leaders in your situation have overcome this, and you can too. It's me telling you this works every time if you'll just step up to the plate and do it. Right? That's what I'm here to do. But the approachability is us just amplifying that burning desire in you to have something more in your life, to live more fully on purpose, to experience more deeply your core values and what you really care about in life. And so that's what I seek to do, like stoke the flame that's already inside of you. And that's what makes it approachable. Like my clients do hard things. They want to get to big jobs. They want to find ways to crush it at these big tech companies, but still have time to be a great dad and a great mom. These are big dreams. And it's not just easy. To your point about the comfort zone, man, the subconscious, it just wants to keep you safe and comfortable. And if you do that, fine. There's no judgment for that, but you're not going to have the life that you just were dreaming about. And so I don't want to beat around the bush, man. Like doing hard things is hard. But when we get in our own way and we create all this resistance because of a poor belief system, a poor mindset, because of bad strategies and blind spots where we're taking a path, we're on the back roads when we could be on the interstate. Let's remove all that resistance so that at least it's as easy as it can be. But that doesn't mean making a huge impact in this world or living the life that you dream about is just going to be a walk in the park. Like you got to face fear. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be willing to take action anyway and risk failure. Like you're going to fail, but it's not failure if you get back up and keep going. Right? It's only failure if you stop. I love Napoleon Hill says, the seed of my equivalent or greater advantage is found in every setback. And it's like, yes, that's it. So, that's maybe the preacher's Zach coming out a little bit, but I'm not here to make it easy. I'm here to help you get there. And if you don't want it bad enough to do that work, then that's fine. But then let's not work together because I can't get it for you. Right? You're the one who has to do the work.
There's a few aspects there. The first one I'll say is I have a saying that there's two type of people in the world, right? People who want it and people who kind of want it. Which one are you? Because a lot of people want it. I will tell you that. But there's more people who kind of want it because they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to do the sacrifice. And the sacrifice doesn't have to be like, I'm sacrificing my family. The sacrifice could be comfort, your comfort zone. We get rid of the things that we give ourselves thinking, oh, this is what we should be going, or this is the life we should be living. We should be constantly uncomfortable because when you have that uncomfort, you're giving yourself an opportunity for growth. Failure is just an opportunity to learn. It's the greatest lesson you ever learn. I seek failure. I don't like it. when I make a mistake, I'm like, man, that doesn't feel good. But the next day I'm rekindled, right? I said, reset. All right. Let's learn from that failure. Let's adjust from that failure. Let's move from that failure versus, like that sucks, like I'll never be any good. And I'm giving myself that negative self-talk. I'm talking down to myself and I'm not telling myself the most important thing. How can I grow from it? How can I make sure that this is not a habit, a habitual failure? Because people just keep doing the same thing and getting the same results. That's the definition of insanity. You're driving yourself insane when the only thing you had to do is give yourself some belief that you can learn and you can grow. One of the other things is that you only need one person to believe in you for something to happen in your life. That person could be yourself or it could be a coach. Sometimes a person has a very difficult time believing in themselves. When I have clients, they come in and they just don't have that belief. I was like, well, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader, so get used to it. That's and right. From there, it's just that they become like that new person. It's like, well, he believes I can. And then whenever they start to get that old mindset again, saying, I can't do it, I always ask them, well, who told you that? Because then it's most likely them, or maybe like, someone evil in their life. I'm not going to say a spouse because you should have a loving and caring spouse, but you want people who are going to see the best in you, right? See the potential in you. Yeah. I taught swimming for some time for kids from 6 months all the way up to 18 years old. It was the same, right? I believed every single one of them can swim. Sometimes I would get some of the most challenging students that they were like, I can't do this, right? It's this negative self-talking when I just kind of say, well, I know you can. Before you know it, it's like, oh, yes, I can. If I say swim across the pool, they go, that's too hard. The next lesson after they did it, yeah, that's easy. So we give ourselves this conversation in our head, right? What's easy, what's hard? And it's all really what we go through. Because yes, swimming across the pool the first time might be scary. It might be challenging, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. For example, if you are a marathon runner and you do your first 5K, you might say, okay, well, that was a little bit challenging. So so you train a little bit more and then you do 5K again. You're like, all right, cool. I did the 5K. I feel good about it. Got my time. Now I'm going to go up to 10K. And then I'm going to do triathlon, right? So like you keep challenging yourself. You're not just going to say, well, I'm really good at 5Ks. I don't want to suck at a 10K. So I'm just going to stay at the 5K, right? So we have to give ourselves the idea of challenge, but then understand that, is that challenge going to keep on letting us grow? Or is it going to keep us just feeling comfortable? I like to use the analogy, like if you're at the gym, you might start off with a 5-pound dumbbell, right? Nothing wrong with the 5 pounds, right? You can use them, you can utilize them, you can get some growth. But if you're a year in to the workout, those 5 pounds might not be doing any benefit for you, right? Let's go up to the 10s. And then you're going to maybe struggle the first week, but your body acclimates so quickly because it was already in that growing phase. Like I'm growing. And your brain in your body is so smart. Yep. It knows this person is trying to grow. This person is trying to change. I'm going to get out of his way. Because our mind is going to be the greatest obstacle that we create. And we have to make sure that we can overcome our mind. So our mind has to be powerful. How do you help people in other ways, other aspects, get that powerful mind so they don't continually give themselves obstacles, give themselves challenges, and give themselves negative self-doubt?
What you just described, Michael, is in many ways the definition of a breakthrough, right? Mm-hmm. When today that's impossible or that's hard. Swimming the whole lap across the pool is something I can't do. And you believe in them enough that they try it, they take action, they do it once, they survive. Mm-hmm. And then literally the next moment, what was once impossible and hard is now easy and no problem and completely possible for me. And I just had a breakthrough in my swimming that I can swim laps now. And in our careers and in our marriages and in our families and in our health, there's all of these places where your current belief system is that you can't swim the lap. That's impossible for me, or that would be extremely hard for me to do. But the truth is you can absolutely do it. You just currently believe that you can't. So how do we help people create a breakthrough? Well, we can show them through evidence of lots of other people doing it that it's possible. We can encourage them through our own belief. One of the greatest gifts you can give someone is to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. But at the end of the day, it always still requires them to take the action, to swim that first lap. You must be willing to take action if you want to experience breakthrough in your life, it won't just happen sitting still, holding on to that edge of the pool. Eventually, you got to kick off and start swimming and do it. And the best way to have that breakthrough is to experience it for yourself, because a belief is a poor substitute for an experience. So with our coaching, the way we help people create massive breakthroughs so fast is we help them accelerate the pace of new experiences that change those beliefs quickly. Because if I just tell you what you could do, that's not enough. You need to go do it. And so take action. You got to get off the edge of the pool, let go, start swimming.
Yeah, this is the concept of letting go. And a lot of people are holding on to things that are not helping them in their life, right? They're holding on to their insecurities. They're holding on to their doubts. They're holding on to the idea that it's not meant for them, right? 2 out of 3 Americans have low self-esteem. So it's like we are already going up against the odds from, growing up into the school system and then having those limits placed on us, right? Sit down, read a book, do the curriculum, graduate, become a worker, right? So like that is our upbringing, right? That is going to be our system that we are given. Yet we can create so much more than what everyone else has, right? There's a reason why 2% of the world wildly succeed and then everyone else kind of just has stuff. We can succeed wildly in whatever we give ourselves, and success is going to be different for everyone. So I don't want people to start to think, well, in order to be successful, I have to be the top of the top, right? I got to be the best of the best. I got to be the Michael Jordan of engineering. I got to be the Michael Jordan of management or leadership or whatever, right? You don't have to do that. You get to define what you want, but you have to define what you want. And a lot of people don't define it. A lot of people just kind of say, well, it's my circumstance. I'll accept whatever I get. We cannot put ourselves in that circumstance. We have to accept more from ourselves. We have to accept more from life, right? Because it's there. We just have to know that it's there. We have to be able to grab it. I love the work that you do because it's showing people that they can go out and they can get these wonderful things and that they can grab it and that they can change their circumstance. And it doesn't have to be that you only work with engineers. I'm sure that's where your specialty is, right? I know you do a lot of work there. Just, from going to your website, checking all your content out, listening to your podcast, people are going to be able to grow. People are going to be able to say, all right, I'm giving myself that knowledge and eventually turning it into wisdom. And then where's that last piece to the puzzle? Action, right? We need to start to take that action. And I know you are a person who's really going to be looking into your client's life, getting them to take more action, making sure that they're on the right path, that they know where they're going, always checking in. And it's so important to have a coach like yourself in their corner. Before we go, I want to get some final words from you, and then I want you to tell the audience where they can find you.
Michael, I just put a big exclamation point behind everything you just said, man. It's really beautiful. And thank you for the kind words about my work. And to your point, it's not just for engineering leaders. That is the sweet spot for me because it's my background. But to your point, we all need this. And so the final thing I'll tell everybody out there, and it's right in the vein of this whole conversation, is that your subconscious mind is designed to keep you safe and to survive, not to take you to success and to thrive. And so if you struggle with these things, it's not because you're broken or something, you're not a good person or you don't have what it takes. It's just the part of you that only wants to keep you alive is winning. And that's why working with a coach like Michael, like myself, can be so powerful, because we can help you understand how to override that and live with courage. We want to crush the comfort zone and create courage to go out there and don't just take what you're given, but go create what you desire. And it's absolutely possible, and we can show you how. And so if somebody's resonating with this, Michael, and they want to talk to me directly, if you want to take action, if you're ready to take action now, I'd be honored to do that. We'd be more than happy to give you a free coaching session. We do 75 minutes. It's not just some token 15-minute thing. We're going to take a few minutes to get to know your situation, and then we'll book you in for a 75-minute call totally free. So if you want to do that, just text the word lifestyle. Grab your phone, open up your text message, one word, lifestyle. Text that word to the number 55444. 55444. So text lifestyle. We'll send you a link. We'll get you on the calendar for a quick check-in and find a time that works for you for that 75-minute session. And if you're not ready for that, but you just want to get to know me better, jump over to the Happy Engineer podcast, wherever you're listening to this. We're there too. So I'd love to get to know you that way. And you can find out more about me, or if you're on your PC, it's thehappyengineerpodcast.com.
Perfect. I'll definitely put your website and the podcast link in the description box below so people can easily find you. Whenever one of my guests gives a little nugget of like a 75-minute call and there's a specific number and a code, I say you have to earn that. So they have to go into the episode and find that, right? Listen to it. I find that's so much more powerful because then it's like you did the work. Now you have earned that 75-minute coaching call with you, maybe some of the best 75 minutes of your life. I encourage people to reach out to you to get that 75 minutes, begin the process, understand where you are, understand where you want to be, and then begin to take action. Because Zach is going to be your guy. He's going to be the guy leading you to the best engineer life, even if you're not an engineer. I want to thank you so much, Zach, for coming on Coaching in Session. Great conversation today.
Michael, thank you. You're the best.
No, you're the best. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Zach White and myself. As you can see, he's going to be a coach, not just helping engineers, but helping people understand that they can re-engineer their life. Sometimes if we think about what an engineer does, they're going to be building buildings, creating blueprints, paving roads, maybe not paving the roads themselves, but of course, having a team to do that, right? If you live in Texas, you go to Dallas, the roads in Dallas are terrible. They're bumpy. There's potholes everywhere. There's all these twists and turns. The street lights don't operate how they should be. But if you go to a city like Austin, which I'm in, things function a lot better. Not saying that Austin is perfect. They function more smoothly. And in our life, we can have smooth flow of traffic. We can have a smooth ride where we're not always being bumped and shooken and brought for a ride that is unnecessary. Okay, we can have some ease of calmness. Not saying that our seas are always going to be calm or our road is always going to be smooth. We're going to have the bumps. We're going to have the hiccups. We're going to have those setbacks. You might get a flat tire here and there. But do you know how to put on the spare? Do you know what happens in your mind after you get that flat tire? Do you curse the world saying, why me? Why do I have this flat tire? Could it have been someone else? Or do you say, you know what? Yeah, I got a flat tire. Let me fix this. Sometimes people say, well, I got a flat tire. Let me keep on driving. And then at that point, now they're hitting burnout. Now that burnout might not be, again, the burnout of your car not being able to drive anymore. But you're going to ruin that tire you were driving on. Now you have to get a whole new tire. How long is that going to take you? Right? Understanding that if something's broken in your life, it has to be fixed. We talked about the idea of adjustment. Sometimes, a small fix like putting on a spare can help you go further. Now, we're not going to drive on that spare naturally for a long time. We're not going to be going to speed greater than 45 miles an hour on that spare. We're going to say, well, let's get to the station. Let's get to the tire shop and let's get a new tire. Because at that point, we're going to say, now I have 4 good wheels and a balanced car. And right there, now you can go even further. Where do you want to go? Well, if you're broken, right, you're going to need to go someplace that's going to help you repair, help you become 100%. Again, I say 100%, right? Just being effective, being efficient to do what you have to do. Sometimes we could be in a negative state of mind, right? So if you are just bogged down, right, you are a heavy load on your brain, mind, shoulders, there's a lot. Sometimes taking a step back, taking a break can be more beneficial than pushing through. There's a concept to knowing when to push and knowing when to rest, but not just to rest because you want to, rest because you need to. Sometimes people, they think, well, if I'm resting, it's a bad thing. Every night we go to sleep with the anticipation to rise again with more energy. We have worked hard in our day, hopefully. And from there, the next day is going to bring newfound energy, newfound purpose. What is your purpose? What is the life that you want to attain? Because sometimes you are going to have to take massive action. Sometimes you are going to have to take the higher road. It's not always the easy road. It's not always the easy path. It's not always saying, well, I'm not going to go to the tire shop and get that spare fixed or that spare change. Because what would happen if your other tire failed? Do you have 2 spares? Most cars don't. So you have to make sure you're always doing the repair work, always doing the maintenance work. And if you find that you have a negative mindset where you're not doing what needs to be done to repair, to recoup every single day, to give yourself some direction of where to go and how to do it, then at that point, you're going to want to get a coach like Zach, like myself, who's going to give you the mindset, give you the direction, give you what you need in order to, again, finally get to the destination that you want to go rather than the destination that you are. Most people want to make some changes in their life. Not a lot of people know how to do it. So it's important to have a coach that's going to be there guiding you, holding you accountable, leading you to the best you. Because we're not going to just simply put on some headphones, listen to the next episode. We're not going to read another book or go off and get another degree. It is time to take action. It is time to launch. It is time to let the world know who you are. Be loud, be proud in that. You might not be 100%. You might always feel like you're not ready, but you are ready. You can do it, right? That belief aspect to it. But you do need action. You have to take the action, right? Zach is right. We can believe in you every single day. But if you don't have the right actions, or if you don't take any actions, how can we start to make progress? Understand that you have so much more. Take the right actions and know that today can be today, and today should be today. And if you're a little bit nervous or timid, get yourself a coach, get yourself someone in your corner that's going to allow you to finally let go of the edge and learn how to fly, learn how to swim, and learn how to live life for the way it should be rather than the way it is right now. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone, take care.